Just when you thought it was safe to listen to the Matt and Mark movie show, here comes another episode of Jaws Knockoffs June. This is our celebration of the movies that tried to follow Bruce the Shark's legacy and couldn't, all in honor of the 50th anniversary of Jaws. The movie this week is Pirañha from 1978, directed by Joe Dante. And we have two, not one, but two huge guests this week, chumming into the water with Mark and I. All right, I'm trying to decide how I'm going to do this, because I think our audience knows you two are related, but just in case, we've got John Say from the Love of Cinema podcast, and we've got his brother, Dasein, who they credit on their show as the artist in residence, but you know him. He's been on our show a couple of times. You guys just heard from him with Beetlejuice. Dasein, welcome back.
Thanks so much for having me, man. This is going to be awesome.
Dude, double the Say brothers in one episode. I expect no pressure, but I expect this to be our highest rated episode ever.
Yeah. Well, we both have such enormous social media presences that you're guaranteed.
Dude, I'm hoping at least we get maybe 2 or 3 more listeners than we normally get each week.
Mac, that would be shocking, dude. Shocking.
Not even my mom. Our mom is not going to listen.
Yeah, my mom listens either.
It's just my mom then this week. Hi, Mom. Yes, we are here for Jaws Knockoffs June. 2 special guests. As I said, we're going to be reviewing Joe Dante's Pirañha. But really quick, before we do that, we got to do a little housekeeping.
Housekeeping, you want me for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
Oh, for the love of God. Hi, we're the Matt and Mark Movie Show. Find us on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube. It's all the Matt and Mark Movie Show. That's it. If you know that, then you've found us. YouTube, like and subscribe. We're not really doing anything there, but go and like and subscribe anyway. Voicemail, 707-948-6707. Call, leave us a message. We will play it on the show. And please continue to leave us ratings and reviews wherever you get this pod. Okay. Enough of that bullshit. Guys, I don't know if you've been catching up with Jaws Knockoffs June, but what we've been trying to do each week is set up with a little trivia. Usually I try to make it about the predator in the movie, right? We learned about the orca in Free Willy. We learned about the orca from last week's movie, Orca. And there's not a lot to kind of know about the piranha in this movie. They're not characterized in any way. There's no like piranha fan board that is talking about them. So instead, I'm going to grace you guys with trivia about the movie, which I think is amazing. This is the best thing that I read about this movie that I found, is that the summer this was coming out, Universal Pictures was also going to be releasing Jaws 2. And they did not want any interference from it seeming like a cheap ripoff. They didn't want any like Pirañha versus Jaws 2 crap. So they were trying to get a legal injunction to get the movie from coming out. And Steven Spielberg, who did not direct Jaws 2, Jeannot Schwark directed Jaws 2. Shout out Jeannot Schwark. That guy said, hey, I think you need to watch Pirañha. And Spielberg watched Pirañha and was like, hey, you know what? I actually think this movie's kind of cool. Let it come out. So thanks to Spielberg, we got Pirañha. Because if not, it would have just been like a fucking lost movie. And I thought that was actually really cool.
Wow.
That is cool. Really cool of him.
Spielberg rules.
Proof that Spielberg is a bro.
So easy. Yeah, it would have been so easy for him just to go along with them on
crush
that
it
and crush this movie. It's not really trying to beat Jaws, but it was gonna, compete with that sequel and everything. It's cool of him to be like, nah, dude, just let him. It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah. It paints him in a less like sterling light, where I'm like, you know what, this guy's cool. Right. I just like that he was like, fuck it. It's a fun movie. Just put it out. Who cares?
He remembered his roots.
He did.
Yes.
And thanks to this dude, Joe Dante got a career. This was like his first big movie. And then because of this little injunction with Spielberg, I almost called him Steelberg, as if he would steal this movie.
Oh my God, they would.
That's what the ladies call him.
So fast, Spielberg. I will not tolerate that.
Dude, the ladies call him Steelberg, Mr. Steal Your Berg. Because of this, Spielberg winds up working with Joe Dante, giving him Gremlins. They work on the Twilight Zone, the movie together. They do Inner Space. They do a ton of shit. So this is actually the starting point for I mean, if you like nerd directors, this is the starting point for you. This is like one of those big Nexus events. So I want to talk to you guys first. Wait, I want to ask, who has seen the movie? Who here on the pod has seen this movie before? Or is this everybody's first time?
Yeah, not I.
Wow.
First time.
Okay, this was I've seen this a couple times. Everybody knows on the show I'm a massive Joe Dante fan. So I'm not going to belabor the point or steal any spotlight because I'm really interested in hearing from you guys. So maybe let's start with our guests, then we'll kick it over to Mark. Guys, I don't know. How do you decide who goes first when you're both on the show? You guys flip a coin? What do you do?
Good question. We just let Jeff tell us what to do.
Honestly, Jeff just talks a lot, and then we talk when he's not talking.
Yeah.
Let's call Jeff.
Yeah, that's what we should do. We should call Jeff and have him decide.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be funny. Honestly, I'll go. How about that?
Yes, please.
I feel like Joe Dante, and it's always interesting when you eventually know somebody's style and work looking backwards. But like, parodies existed. New World cinema already existed. Roger Corman was making these kinds of movies for as low budgets as humanly possible that would still go out, and they would go to drive-ins. They would go to, theaters around the country that people were going to see movies for fun and not necessarily for prestige or even for blockbuster. It was like, what are we doing tonight? We just want to go see this movie. What I think he introduced, I'm not going to say he's the first person to do it, but what he made a reputation doing is so evident in this film. It is funny. It is going to, you're supposed to be able to have fun watching this. The tongue is in the cheek sometimes, but it doesn't come out of a place of over-the-top parody. It doesn't live in that space. Like, tonally, I feel like it succeeds, and you find yourself laughing because of the sincerity. Like, he's actually like finding ways to wink at the audience, but also make it feel like it is still in the spirit of a Jaws, or in the spirit of eventually like the Anaconda and these kind of creature movies from the 50s and 60s. You watch Joe Dante grew up watching those fucking monster movies, and they did not think they were strictly comedies when they were making them. They took those movies seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you will, we'll touch our cap a little bit there. They knew they were trying to entertain a mass audience. They weren't trying to scare the pants off everybody, but they didn't do it thinking they were being ridiculous and silly. And I think he took those monster movie roots from his fucking childhood, and he tried to make people have fun watching watching a movie about a predator that you almost can never see. You do see, but when you do see the choice to, the way he slowly lets you see more of this animal as the movie goes on is part of what is so funny about it. Like, everyone who put your little time capsule on, everybody knew that you didn't see the shark all the time at the beginning of Jaws, and you did see it more as the movie went on. Like, that language was probably already established because most people had probably seen Jaws 2 or 3 times in the theater by the time this movie came out, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the way he slowly reveals getting to see, maybe it's just that little animation, maybe it's the puppets, maybe it's them biting at the rope, but oh my God, like, you start to laugh and smile wider and wider and wider as the kills become more and more gruesome and revealing in this movie. And I feel like that's just his brilliance overall.
Yeah,
that's all.
100%. I actually thought it was funny, really quick, was that last week, Mark and I watched Orca, and that movie felt like that their response to Jaws was like, listen, they didn't show Jaws. We have to show the orca a lot. Every frame has orcas. 12 orcas. Yeah. All times orcas are jumping through frame and shit. And this feels like the opposite. Joe Dante was like, you guys showed the shark too much. I want to now show the least amount possible of my predator. I actually thought, I don't know, I was reminded of that this week, especially off the heels of Orca, where I was like, wow, you barely fucking see
when this thing fucking started, it's a cool hour and 35, folks. If you're going to watch it home, it's on Prime, it's on Tubi, it's streaming a lot of places. And this is not asking a lot of you in terms of time, commitment. It's fun. And when it starts, you are very quickly introduced to a classic cliche scenario that still feels fun to watch, where you have 2 people take their clothes off and get into a pool with the predator. And you know what's coming. And when they start getting bit, you're kind of, at least for me, I'm waiting to see like the Jaws POV shot under the water, like, but they don't do that. They just watch these people from above the water squirm and shake, and then bloody water comes up from underneath. And for a minute, I was like, dude, is this movie going to just be a bunch of like day players like shaking and squirming in the water while the water turns red? Like, I was so excited.
And the answer
but it
was
got even
yes.
better when he did start to show them. It was mostly that. I mean, oh my God, can you imagine the first AD directing like that giant sequence at the end of the lake, just getting all those children in the previous sequence, but then that sequence at the end just be like, they're underneath you. They're biting you. Come on, give us. They're coming for you.
Yeah.
Scream, you can feel it. There are.
Afro guy in inner tube, look left. Bikini lady, look right. Yeah.
God, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Honestly, I had such a blast watching this. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Fuck yeah.
Show.
All right,
think
Dasein, where did you come out on Piranha?
Well, as a general overview, I also had a blast. I had a great time watching this. But using the attack scenes as a jumping off point, I did love the slow escalation of how much they actually show you from, like John was saying, nothing at the very beginning. You only see from the outside of the water to slowly starting to show you underwater shots, but not really revealing the fish themselves. And then by the time you're at the end and you see the whole beach get attacked, I actually beg to differ a little bit. That was the only scene where I wasn't kind of smiling and laughing as that scene went on. It kept going. It was a very long scene. The longer it went on and the longer they held the shots underwater and the more they showed them like pulling at little bits of flesh, and the sound design in those scenes. I don't know if you guys watched with headphones, but
yes.
It actually, it almost entered like a Lynchian place for me, where it started to become so absurd and the noise was so repetitive and so unsettling that it actually started to like freak me out.
Was it that weird like
those
ambient like whatever that, I can't do the noise like there's like this humming that happens when they swarm.
Yeah, it's a very odd sound.
It is,
very
yeah.
specific to the piranha though.
And they commit to it too, because every time that sound returns.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like,
And
we're not changing the sound file.
And
We will
it's
copy
a very,
and paste.
We have
it's a
one
very-
recording, one field
and it's a-
recording. We're just
and it's
gonna
a
use it
very-
over and over.
it's a hard cut to it whenever they go underwater.
Yes.
So like, you know, coming
It's
up-
very jarring in that
They
way.
don't, dude, they don't ease you in at all. It's just
But I will say, even though it was the same sound over and over, like the visuals, you don't quite notice it in the big first half of the movie. And then you start to notice it in the middle, and then by that final scene, it's like in your face, it's in your ears, it's very apparent and like very unsettling. I actually read what it is. You guys want me to tell you what that sound
yes,
is?
Yeah,
please do.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what this is.
Oh yeah.
They took dental drills, and they're not sure if they put the drills under the water and recorded it, or if they recorded it from underneath the water and the drills were outside of the water. But that's why it almost sounds like mechanical and repetitive. But it gives them this otherworldly kind of like, this is not
That's
natural.
awesome. I
kinda
love the
feel to
low fineness of that. That is so Roger Corman. That is so
Yeah.
New World to be like, just go make it with a blender in the water. they were like, shouldn't we be recording this outside? He's like, just do it in the sink, in the office sink. It's fine.
Oh yeah. God,
Yeah,
that is
but
so
you know,
good.
despite its budget and whatever corners they cut, I thought it was like a really cohesive movie that did a lot with what it had. And I
Well,
really
this thing
enjoyed
was
it.
written because it's co-written by John fucking
John
Sayles,
Sayles,
dude.
yeah.
I mean, there's
His first
really
script,
cool.
right? Wasn't this his first movie script?
I
is
think
this
his
the
first
one
big
that he
one.
sold.
Yeah.
Big one.
That's his
Okay,
first big
wow.
one.
Awesome.
Yeah. And he pops up in the movie as one of the MPs, which is funny because he also had a
Really?
long relationship with Joe Dante. He's the MP when she's like, maybe he's gay. And she goes out and he's the guy that she like
That shit was funny.
flashes him. That's John Sayles.
Yes. He's so tall. Yeah.
I was wondering, are you gay?
Yeah, that is John Sayles. And if you watch Matinee, another Joe Dante movie we've actually covered on the show, John Sayles and Dick Miller, Mr. Futterman from the Gremlins, who's also in this movie, they are paired up as like two henchmen that kind of terrorize the town together. So it's just kind of a cool little Dante callback. It's very cool.
I love it so much.
Speaking of great appearances, this is the last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you guys go. Did you guys notice, since you guys did an episode that included this guy, this actor, did you notice who the doctor was? Oh,
yes,
John, did you figure it out?
Wait, yeah. Well, I don't know if John was on that episode.
Oh, were you filling in for him?
I filled in for John to cover Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1956 on the Love of Cinema. And Kevin McCarthy, the guy who gets that big moment, the main star of Invasion, is the doctor in this movie. And he's that guy. You know what I love about that guy? He sells sci-fi mumbo-jumbo dialogue so well. It all sounds so real coming from him. You're like, this fucking guy. And you have the cool Dante-ism of being like, hey, here's this super nerdy thing from this like 50s B movie that I love. I'm just going to put this actor in it. And you're like, it's the instant connection. It's so fucking good. Yes, I spotted him right away, and I was reminded, I was like, perfect. Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That's such a good draw to what I was saying earlier, that Joe is clearly, I'm sure he grew up an enormous fan of those movies.
Oh, yeah.
And, just like trying to like, how do we bring these callbacks? It's all in the same world. I mean, I think they're just in color. Like, honestly, I feel like if you had just sucked the color out, he would have just landed right in that space, making those Universal movies back in the 50s and 60s.
Oh, 100%, dude. That's why we also get like a Creature from the Black Lagoon name drop. The girl in the beginnings, like, the Creature from the Black Lagoon's not in here.
What,
and then you also
get
you also get this weird little stop motion, like, little morphing guy.
What the fuck is that?
So that was supposed to be, this is when they ran out of money. So one of our favorite guys, Mark, Phil Tippett, who did, all the Star Wars stop mo and RoboCop stop mo of Ed 209, he did the animation on that guy. And it was originally supposed to be a bigger thing where like it would be a running gag where every time you cut away, there would be that little mutant. He would be bigger and bigger so that by the end of the movie, he's like a giant thing that runs through frame and gets like wiped out by the army. And Roger Corman was like, I don't have the money for that, so cut it. So they capped that little Phil Tippett bit because they just loved it, and they were like, it never goes anywhere. And that's exactly why. It doesn't matter.
Without a doubt, the best moment of that little creature is when it pops around a corner, and you just see its eye wink, and then it disappears. It's just like eyelids
and
come
then you
together.
never see it again.
Yes, totally.
That is so funny.
A hard cut too. There's no build up. It's like, this is the shot we got. We got 2 seconds. This is the shot. Boop. That's the shot.
It's so funny, dude. God, I love it. Phil
Mark,
Tippett. Of course,
Mark,
he did.
what did you think about this Piranha, man?
I really enjoyed it, but I know you guys talk about like kills and stuff, but I liked it from like, I like when Joe Dante goes like science and weird military angle. I like that it was like an experiment, and he's actually, the doctor wasn't as bad as they thought he was. And it's kind of like, I like that point where it's like, well, you guys, I was like, I was warning you guys, and you guys release them. So it kind of also makes
you think it's
the
my
lead
fault?
characters like pieces of shit, because they had every chance to stop it and they didn't, and as a result, all these people die. They even killed the scientists. Actually, if you think about it, like the main characters suck, and half the time they're late. They're late for everything, like me.
Yeah.
So basically, they're going down this river. And they just show up after the carnage. So they don't really do anything. It's almost like, it's like the Apocalypse Now of Piranha movies. It's just people on a boat, but it's just like they're just seeing the aftermath of everything that's gone wrong, and they're just like, eh.
That is funny, though, that the fucking doctor calls them on it. And he's like, I was just having my fucking life. You guys came in without questioning anybody, without letting anybody know. You're like releasing things, shutting down fucking filtration and shit. I didn't ask you guys to do that. Yeah, they fucking kidnapped. Dude, not only did that, they kidnap him. They tie him up against his will. He's fucking woken up and he's tied up like a goddamn hostage, dude.
By the way, did you also notice they get mad at the military? They're like, oh, you're trying to contain him?
yeah.
And you wanted to be on the team? What a bunch of assholes.
You're so right, dude. And then by the end, too, you're like, okay, they missed the boat, but thankfully they got there for the kid. They missed the deal with the military. then at the end you're like, okay, maybe they will get there in time to save the kids at the camp or the people at the aqua arena, and they don't. They're always like 2 seconds later than it needs to be. It's fucking great.
They're also like the two women in the speedboat that don't believe that guy either. He's just like, yeah, no, please.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, whatever.
They're like, speed up, slow down, speed up. I don't know. Dude, okay, but for like a cheapy...
I do appreciate those scenes, though.
For like a cheapy Roger Corman movie, though, I gotta say, I think the effects are really good when they're on screen, but it has one hell of a fucking climax where you're like, okay, you've felt the budget, at least I think up until that point, but at the end, like, the huge crowds, the fucking aqua arena, the whole thing, you're like, man, they pay it off. Like, it's kind of crazy for a fucking Roger Corman movie to, like, pay something that big off, you know? Be like, no, they're gonna cut away some way or something.
They didn't pay
After that-
anybody at that lake sequence. They were like, bring your boats,
That
bring
boat
bring
explosion
everything you
not
got.
planned.
Was it like
Boat
when you
traffic in
was
that
it
one
like when you
shot.
help your buddies move? Roger Corman paid people in like pizza and beer. Somebody got a slip disc.
Honestly, dude.
Sorry.
I'm not even sure that one stunt was planned. That guy comes through in the
Exactly.
speedboat with a helmet on,
That
and you're
was an
like, why's he
accident.
got a helmet? Oh, I think we know why he's got a helmet. Oh my god, dude.
They warned him
Mark?
something might happen. Yeah.
Mark, you're so right about the characters, though, and I think Dante and Sales and Robinson, screenwriter, they get their vengeance on these characters because that has got to be the quickest lead character's resolve of all time. She yanks him out of the smelting plant. He's bleeding. The thing's not there, and it cuts to him. The arm comes up. And then it cuts to the final sequence, and you think, oh, he's going to have a reunion with his daughter. We're going to see like this whole wrap up, and they just show him bleeding, and then the camera floats over him, and they're like, fucking forget about those two. We are not wrapping up shit. Nobody knows how they feel about anything. They don't get to really say anything. The characters don't fucking matter. That was not the reason you were watching this, in case you didn't know. Oh,
100%, dude.
Fun. It's so much fun.
The one character that I love and remember from Pirañha is Paul Bartel, the asshole camp counselor. He's the one person I always think of.
Hilarious.
That movie.
Guts, Gorgon.
Yeah. I also love
Just yelling at this 7-year-old child.
no swimming after lunch. Yeah, dude, that guy.
By the way, did that
If
that
ever a good, like a
kid annoy
proper,
you guys?
what the camp counselor guy?
Say it again.
No,
Say it again.
that little kid that was trying to get the boat out.
Oh my god, I
The
thought of
little
you,
rock.
Mark.
That
I thought of
kid
you.
just made me want to throw something at the screen. I was like, get the damn thing in the water! Rescue these! And then she dies because that stupid kid is so slow. I was like, ah!
Fucking Susie, dude.
Kid.
Little
Yes.
Susie.
I knew from the
You
minute
think they
that
thought
kid.
twice about that character's name?
Yeah.
You're like, what should we call this little girl? I don't know. It's Susie.
That was someone else's name on the call sheet. They were like, "Fuck it, just that's your name."
Oh my god, dude. It's so funny.
Oh, well, speaking of names, I'll tell you, I learned something watching this movie. They call at the very beginning, maybe the scientist or
Pirañha.
Yeah, Pirañha. They call it
Pirañha.
Pirañha.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I
So does the
looked into
British
give it
lady.
the-
The British lady also calls it Pirañha.
Yes, they do it twice. And I looked into it, and at first I was like, no, it's in the dictionary, it's written out piranha. And then I found this old reference, some ichthyologist from the 70s who wrote about how the original Brazilian word for it is piranha, but the widespread mispronunciation led to it being officially translated as piranha in the English language. But piranha,
Wow, we
is
just muscled
technically
our way
correct.
into that.
Absolutely.
We just
As
forced our way
we
in.
do.
Yeah.
Terrible.
No, this is the new way. It's better.
Yeah, dude. It's like what
It's
they
easier
tried to
to
do in
pronounce, so
Gran
kudos.
Turismo. They were like, "It's not Nissan anymore. It's Nissan. Fuck you. It's Nissan."
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you guys do an episode on that?
I've. You know what's
Did you
funny?
do an episode on Gran Turismo?
We've never done an episode on Gran Turismo. I have done other episodes on other podcasts about Gran Turismo. I think I've done 2 of them. I've spoken about that movie at length, and it hasn't come near our show.
One day, one
It's
glorious
in the rec section.
driving
It was
day.
in the rec section. I remember that. You're trying to look up Nissan or Nissan.
Yes, I thought I was having a stroke because I was like, "Is it fucking Nissan or Nissan? Stop!" So let me ask you guys this, because this was a question that like Mark and I have been asking since we've been reviewing these movies, right? Is that last week especially I think showed us with Orca, which was a movie we both liked a lot. We were like, Jaws, when I say Jaws knockoff to you, I think it immediately paints a picture in your mind of being like less than, or sort of a very cheap B movie. You already kind of populate whatever that means to you in your mind. Does this is considered, and people say it lovingly, but this is considered the best, quote, the best of the Jaws knockoffs. And they're saying it lovingly, but to me, yes, it was maybe meant to capitalize on the success of Jaws, but it never feels like a knockoff to me. Kind of like last week's movie, like Orca, it feels like it stands on its own. It's just a creature feature that happens to star something in the water. But I wanted to see what you guys thought. How do you think... I guess, how do you you can't compare this to Jaws. Jaws is a fucking perfect movie. But like for like some scrappy people at New World who are making a movie for like $500,000, how do you guys think how do you guys think they fared in the legacy of Bruce the Shark? I actually think they did pretty good.
For sure.
I agree with you, for sure.
Yeah.
And I actually give them a lot of credit for just upfront acknowledging that this movie is coming out in the wake of Jaws by having the Jaws Pong
I love
sequence
that
at the very beginning. I thought that was really smart. Just to
Absolutely.
get it out of the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
But even beyond that, like I think that this movie has enough distinctness. First of all, it has a very sci-fi bent to it because it's about, it's that, like you were saying, Mark, it has that science military angle where like these are engineered. This isn't some freak man versus nature type of situation, which I think is sort of the underlying theme of Jaws, and like letting pride and economy and all of these things kind of blind you to the fact that nature, it can't be fucked with. This is a very different thing because this is like man versus man. This is more of a sci-fi type of theme. And even though, yes, they are underwater, yes, there is red jets of water coming up around people being eaten, and they do sort of use a similar type of thing of like revealing more and more of it, underwater shots, lots of overlap with Jaws. I do think it stands on its own. It is also not aspiring to be the same kind of drama that Jaws is. I think Jaws, while it is definitely got horrific elements to it and the thrilling elements to it, it really is a drama. Outside of the thrilling moments. And this one solidly sits in the creature feature, thrilling, suspense, horror, comedy genres for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that is the line, and that is the difference between this and what I think most Jaws knockoffs are. Jaws is a character study that happens to revolve around the people dealing with their issues while also dealing with a man-eating shark. But it really is like that's why that movie stands alone. I feel like adventures and even sometimes thrillers, characters are more determined and defined by what is happening to them. And again, we were joking about it earlier, how what these people are and how quickly they kind of abandon them. But the situation is it's presented so clearly up front that like this is going to be more important than why he drinks so much. This is going to be more the focus of what's happening to the movie, the world of the movie, than why she has that job of a PI basically, or whatever the hell she is, searching out missing people. They never ever go into her backstory or understand why she is the way she is. They never have to confront or reveal any information about themselves. So for me, it plays by those true like adventure rules. It just also has that creature feature element, which makes it like kind of stand on its own. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like this one, I think if you had found, and I haven't done as much of a deep dive as maybe you guys are doing this summer with this series, but I think if they had tried to have those serious scenes, if they had tried to have the below the deck scene in Jaws that's so iconic, we would have been like, oh, here we go. And it's just, unless it's great and brilliant, it just makes me remember that it's not as good as Jaws. This is different enough. So I feel like it stands on its own. And Jaws, that people, I think you know what I mean when I say this. You have a lot more fun watching a creature feature. I don't think it was fun for people to watch Jaws. They were so scared. They just couldn't help but relive that terror. I mean, it was so visceral and it was so dramatic that I don't know if people could have had quite as much enjoyment. Whereas I would imagine if we were all hanging out and going to see movies, we would have gone to see Jaws multiple times for a different reason than we would have wanted to go see this again at the drive-thru.
Yes.
Like, dude, that was just too much fucking
I think
fun.
you're watching
like,
Jaws
for
for craft, and you're watching Piranha for fun. Like, especially like last week, watching Orca felt like, you know, because that movie's also very cold and in the winter. And I was like, man, when this started, I was like, it's fucking summer, baby. People are out on the lake. We're swimming around. This feels like a summer time, like a summer movie. And in a way, it almost felt like a summer camp comedy or something. I was like, fuck yes, this feels like the middle of June. This is it. We're here.
It also has it's baked in because of, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be. There is a sci-fi element. They're trying to get the piranha to the piranha. Is it piranha? Excuse me. Is piranha like fish? Is it already
I think it's always just piranha, but
knows?
now I want to know. Piranha.
Okay, sure. Like fish? No, I'm sure it is. Like all fish. It's just already plural. So I know they're trying to get to the ocean, but I felt like it also physically just being set in a different kind of body of water immediately made me feel like I was in a slightly different movie. I was getting Deliverance vibes. You know, you're traveling with stream and you can't get there fast enough, and you're trying to / outrun these violent villainous things that you don't see and you don't quite understand, and you're not sure if the government's going to be able to help. There's no anyway. I think that's also part of it. The world feels so different that you're not automatically stuck back in an open body of water, which is Jaws owns that, you know, in a sense, like that is, it owns it. Anyway, what do you guys think?
That's a good call, having it be open water versus controlled environments, right? Like the lake, the little area where all the Aquarina people are. That's a good call. The open water feels like Jaws. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you guys were kids and we saw Anaconda, have you done that one yet?
No, but I mean, we've talked about it a lot. We should do it.
so.
We should devote a whole episode to it.
I mean, I had already seen Jaws like fucking 30. I mean, I've seen it. I saw it at least 3 or 4 or 5 times when I was a child. Before our OG, when we were growing up, Anaconda came out, the first one. And I didn't think this is a Jaws knockoff, but it's a creature movie. But of course, there are those similar storytelling archetypes and a little bit of those cliches. Some of it just was immediately, in my mind at least, the world is too different for me to compare it directly to Jaws.
Yeah.
This is a exhibition movie. This is they're going to discover something. This is that scientist kind of movie, and they're encountering something versus humans in a regular world having to deal with themselves while dealing with this disaster that's trying to murder them. Anyway, I'm going to shut the fuck up. Mark, what'd you think?
I was actually going to say, if I were to compare this to movies, I suppose it'd be sort of like what 28 Days Later did for zombie movies. Because if you look at it, always feels like there is still enough time to get away from the orca or a shark. But these creatures, as soon as there's something in the water, it's like, and it just instantly kills you. And it's kind of cool to see this movie as a, like, they're just reacting to shit. It doesn't feel constructed. It's just like all this crap got released in this water, and we got to warn people and get people out. But it's sort of like, of course, because it's a shit happens movie, it's only natural for them to show up late. So it does make sense. But and it kind of is infuriating because you realize that there's no way. I like that the movie doesn't think that the audience is stupid. It's just like, there's no way you can contain this. Like, everything's going to be bad at the end, and then it is. And I like that it's like, wait, it's not afraid to kill children. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
It was like all these other movies, they makes them seem more tame, because in this one it's like not even the kids are safe. You know, I thought that dog was going to get eaten too, but it's like, no matter, you could be on the pier, it'll still eat you. Although that didn't make any sense. It's like, come on, dude, just go in your house, you fucking idiot. But you know, for everyone in the water, it totally made sense. And even like that raft scene was so cool. I have to say, the only time it felt low budget is when they had to jump off of it, and you could see, like, they got around.
It was so charming, though. It was so charming the way they filmed that.
It's like this idyllic shoreline where you can just like, oh, everything's beautiful over here.
Um,
But that's the one part where it felt like you weren't, even like the main characters weren't safe, because you start seeing those logs drift away. You're like, okay, these people could be dead too. So
Yeah.
it was kind of cool to see a movie where basically anything could happen and you
Right.
weren't expect. It's like the Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones.
It's
Honestly,
Mark, was that,
nobody's
Game
safe.
of Thrones.
was that raft scene your favorite scene in the movie, Mark?
I think so, yeah. Because it also showed that, because he was talking about how they're like genetically engineered so they're like a little bit smarter. So it seems like they're going after the blood, but they're actually going after everyone on that boat. And they're like, and they know that if they separate these logs, eventually they're going to fall in. So it's actually kind of that's like the moment where you're like, okay, these things are also, they're not just eating machines, they're also intelligent. So
Yes.
even if you fall in, it's like no matter what's going to happen, you're not going to outsmart them, and you can't get away from them because they're too fast. So it's kind of like the ultimate predator. And if we were to fight these characters, these things would eat Bruce. Sorry, Bruce.
They might
Nice.
devour Bruce. That is actually my one. That's my one and only gripe with this movie, and it's purely a budgetary thing. I do wish there was more gore. Like, even though the red kind of pumps out in the water, like, part of me wants, when they pull Kevin McCarthy up onto the raft, part of me wants to see the bottom half of him gone, right?
Yes, I thought they
I
were
was
gonna.
expecting that, actually.
Yeah,
I was
or like-
"Where's the
me
torso
too.
scene?"
Or to see him like full Kevin McCarthy torso and have the bottom just be a straight up skeleton, like a pelvis with like bones and a femur and shit,
That'd
right?
be awesome.
I actually think they
Well,
do
they
that
did,
exact
'cause-
gag in the Piranha remake, the Alexandra Aja remake. I think that exact
Oh,
thing
wow.
happens where somebody gets pulled and their bottom half is just the skeleton on down.
Bones.
A
It's just
pristine
bones.
skeleton.
Same thing when like Paul Bartel gets in the
Polished
water
bone.
and he gets attacked. I want like more of Paul Bartel to be missing, because like he gets out and he's
I
kind
did
of
Well, I
just
felt
bloody.
like they were. Didn't it feel like they were
that's-
setting that up though from the pool, because it's like clean bone in the water, and you're like,
Yes.
okay, something
Yeah.
fell in there and
Yes.
they ate the shit out of it. But I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
like you said, Matt, it was probably like, isn't this something cool we can do, Roger? And he's
Yeah.
just like, we have no money.
That's exactly, dude. And it's
Show
like
some
you gotta, as a
From Sarah
filmmaker,
Jelly and
you
throw
gotta
it
make
on his
decisions.
bodies.
You know, you're like, he's only gonna give us $10,000 more. Like, do we want to do this, or do we want to have Dick Miller go on like a little boat with all the people? We should have Dick Miller on the boat with all the people. That would be really fun. I guess we don't have a skeleton pelvis thing. It's fine. Like, you know what I mean? You gotta make
I thought
decisions,
that-
man.
I thought that moment specifically, though, since they could, it's in retrospect, but since they could not show just the femurs and the pelvis, for a second I thought they were going to pull him up to a certain point and then like yank him up and cut away and just see them responding to it and just tell us that they
That's
like, and they were
smart,
going to tell
yeah.
us like, oh my god, he's gone, like he's not there anymore, and the kid was going to like throw up or something. My dad, that
My
boy.
dad.
That he had so much PTSD. That was crazy. He watched both his fathers die.
He immediately he clinged onto that guy real fast, didn't he? That happened to my daddy. Are you my dad? So fast.
You caused the death of both your fathers in the same exact way. Actually, there's a lot of doubling.
What
in this
happened
movie
to that
because
kid, by the way?
They do the lake scene twice, basically, because it's like, okay, here's the lake scene, and then it's a lot of like, wow, that was crazy, and then like, we're gonna do it again. Don't worry. That's pretty cool.
Didn't it seem like the main
So-
guy kind of was going to inherit the dog and the kid by the end? Like, all right, fuck it. I guess my family grew by a kid and a dog. That's what I kept
Matt, I'm
expecting.
telling
This is
you,
going-
I'm telling you guys, the scene was written where all that happened, and they were like, I don't want it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know what happens to these
This is
people.
gonna
We're
cure
out of
my
here.
They were
alcoholism.
like, we're burning daylight. Dick Miller's hungry. Roger Corman's leaving. You need to shoot this now.
You guys got this, right? I'm out of here.
You want to shoot a
You know
second
what's
take?
crazy, though?
No.
Guys, how about the composer? He did some De Palma movies. I enjoyed the music
Yeah.
in
Really?
this, in this
Pino
movie.
Donaggio. The music was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Even from like the opening credits, I was thinking about it,
Yeah.
and there were some fun themes that he used throughout. Some old school, like, just that was how movies were made back then. That was kind of the way you did them, but it did give it a little bit of that sincerity. I mean, you cannot imagine making your Jaws knockoff in the 70s and 80s and not be thinking about the music, right? I mean, everyone's going to
Yeah.
be like, what are you going to do musically? Are you going to try to knock off John Williams themes, or are you going to do something totally different? I want to hear Vangelis's like Jaws knockoff score. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have sounded like that would have been awesome.
But I do appreciate
Anyway.
that he didn't try to do the music that he made for it was actually very droning. It was not suspenseful and deep like a Jaws. You would
He
expect
made him
someone
with
to.
dental drills.
And I think that's actually what lent it that almost absurd kind of Lynchian feel. Was it would just be like long, drawn out, eerie chords instead of like something that builds. And I appreciated that a lot. It's a different way to because a lot of these, if you think about the nature of a shark attack versus a piranha attack, we're getting into it here. A shark attack is like, it's a bit of a buildup and then a climactic sort of single moment where the bite happens, right? As opposed to a piranha attack, which is sort of like constant and it's just like whittling you away, right? Instead of one big chomp. So instead of musically kind of having a suspenseful buildup with the slow creeping in of those two notes and getting quicker and quicker and quicker, instead having it sort of drone and like eat away at you like the piranhas. Thought that was actually a pretty brilliant
That's
way to do it
fucking
musically.
amazing,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, damn,
That
that's
just blew
really
my
good.
mind.
Shit.
That is fucking great.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
Musician.
damn, I only have
Dude,
dumb
I'm
stuff
glad
to
we had a
say.
musician on this week because that's a good call. We're doing this whole
Yeah,
Jaws
dude.
theme, and Jaws is so founded in those notes and that music. It's great to hear somebody talk about it musically. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's really
Pino,
cool. Actually.
Pino Donaggio, it's a genius.
Yeah, dude. That's
Yeah,
the other thing
you
too. Is
nailed
like especially movies from this era, like late '70s movies that lean horror. And we heard it last week a little in Orca. They all tend to have the same sort of languorous, like '70s, like the acoustic guitar. Things take a while, right? So it's cool because you either go that way or you go the De Palma way, where you got tones and synths and moogs and shit, and you're like, yeah, we're getting freaky and European with this shit. And that's the kind of that's the side I like.
music as sound design, which John Williams is the fucking king, but he doesn't do that. You know, he writes symphonic scores that accompany, and it almost like was necessary with Jaws a little bit. That movie would have been maybe too horrific without some familiar textures and sounds from your orchestra.
Yeah.
And even though it has that great theme, which is scary, it is not a drone. It is not a dissonant drone specifically accompanied by sound design that is probably atonal compared to it, and it makes this other thing happen, which is, you're totally right, Matt. I mean, that is De Palma's shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
it's like it's always a mixture of these like really rich, romantic, string heavy themes, and then that kind of stuff. And it's like it's like going back and forth to that. He did Dress to Kill, he did Body Double,
Yep.
he did a few others of his, I think. Anyway, Pino Donaggio, interesting shit, music.
Yeah, man.
you
This is the kind of shit you could rock to in your car. You know what I mean? Like, I love John Williams, but I can't go to Raising Cane's drive-through with that playing on my speakers. You know, I want some Pino Donaggio.
My God, that's so funny.
I think we mentioned it a little bit already, but like, do we have a favorite scene? Do you guys have a favorite scene from the movie?
Mark's was the raft.
I think mine's definitely the raft.
I'll start you here.
Go.
Yeah, the one thing I love, and it's not even a creature bit. It's just something I remember. Like every Joe Dante movie has one odd character bit that I always latch on to. In Gremlins, it's Mr. Futterman. Like here, it's the old guy who sits on the pier with his dog, and he tells the dog the dirty joke.
Yes.
And he expects the fucking dog to answer him. That's what I hang on to. Is he's like, "What? You don't think that shit's funny?" When the dog is, there's a cutaway to the dog just being a dog. It doesn't respond to the joke. It's my favorite scene in this movie.
Dude, I literally asked that question because I wanted to tell you guys that was my favorite scene.
Yes, fuck
Oh,
yes.
wow.
That
Yes.
scene is so goddamn good. That's like, it's
I
great
loved the way
screenwriting.
he talked to that dog.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's great screenwriting that guy would treat his dog like a person, but it's even better. Dante sweetens it when he punches to the dog for the reaction, and there's no fucking reaction. It's so good, dude. It's so good.
And then his death affected me the most. I was so sad when that guy died.
Yeah.
And actually, that was the one time they really did, I think, sell the pull him out of the water, and the lower half of the body is all fucked
Yeah,
up.
that had
His
gore.
legs were like skeletonized, and
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. They blew their budget on that one, but it was worth it. They did it on the right character.
Also,
For a-
kick-ass
for a-
performance by that guy, by the way. That, like, random townie they
Yeah,
got to
definitely
play
the
that guy.
best.
Good fucking job, man. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he nailed it. He
For
nailed it.
a different scene, same actor, where I was like, what's this movie doing? When he is dropping off the first like dialogue of this film that takes place in the place where the movie's actually going to take place is between the old man and our lead character, and he's bringing him his whiskey and his scotch and his tequila and his gin, and the lead says to the old man, what do you got up here? And he took a minute and a half to deliver his, well, I'm glad you asked. I've got the river.
Yep, the turn.
The turn!
I've got it gives me my dinner. It gives me I was like, wow, they didn't cut this. They were like, no, we're holding on this guy.
Yeah.
This is true. It was the most sincere moment in the movie.
That was their Robert Shaw moment.
Yes,
Honestly,
absolutely,
I was
yes.
like, like they're really letting this guy chew it up. But and I was kind of starting to laugh at it in my head a little bit. I was like, oh no, like they're gonna I was worried, kind of what I said at the beginning of this episode. Is this where they're gonna go? They're gonna try to make it more serious than it should be, and maybe a little sappy and sentimental. But then that moment ended, good screenwriting, with him looking back one last time to the lead and saying, what does it give you, or what you got? And he's like, this is all I've got. And it was such a great way to deflect, the performance aside, it was such a great way on the page to deflect away without using bullshit exposition to tell me anything about the lead character. And then in 1, 2, 3 word question at the end of that very distracting kind of sentimental thing, you're reminded that none of that actually matters to the lead character. He has nothing. He's an empty vessel and he's a fucking alcoholic. And it just made me laugh and also told me something I needed to know moving forward, which was that might be, bullseye B movie kind of filmmaking, right? It's like what you want.
Yeah, dude, you hit the fucking jackpot with that guy.
Was.
Yeah, dude.
That's,
Yeah,
I mean,
they nailed it.
did the main character? The main character always reminds me of two people. If two people had a baby, if Will Ferrell and Charlton Heston had a baby. It would be this
dude,
guy.
yes.
For sure.
Dude, there were certain line
Yeah.
deliveries where I was like, is he trying to sound like Charlton Heston? Because he's doing a good job.
It's yeah, honestly, like exactly like him. Like I was like, is he his fucking son? He might be his son.
Yeah, dude.
Unreal.
Yeah, I love that
would
guy.
Who was
maybe
the other guy?
explain
You said Will
why-
Ferrell?
It's Will Ferrell and
Will
Charlton.
Ferrell and
Yeah, because there were
Heston.
also Will Ferrell moments, like when he's like, hey, like when they were in the jail cells and he's like, hey, what did you hit that guy with? She's like, I hit him with a piece of the
What was that?
toilet lid. Wow. Like, it was like Will Ferrell on SNL or something. He had the look too, the hair. There was something about him.
Men were men, baby. Back then. Oh my God.
All right, so
funny.
favorite scene. Did we have, though, a favorite kill in the movie? Is their favorite kill your favorite scene,
for sure,
Mark? Is the raft your favorite kill?
Let's see. That's actually a good question. Part of me, I'm going to sound like a dick, but part of me felt like a lot of the kills felt very much the same. It was just like, I fell in the water. But I mean,
Except for one.
so when it comes to like kills, I think I liked the mass killing. That sounds
And there's
Yeah.
your clip. We'll see you later, Mark.
Yep.
Arrested.
there's just something about also there's one
John has left the studio.
I'm done. I
I
can't
should
be on the show
say by
anymore.
Piranha. But there's one it's a kind of a beautiful shot where this lady just disappears into
Yes.
the water, into the void.
Yes!
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that was like
awesome.
the most
Awesome.
artful death sequence in the whole movie. So I
The
think
other
that was my
counselor,
favorite
right?
because it's like they took time to make
Yes.
it look like it actually is terrifying when you think about it, because it's like someone is just being like pulled away. No one can do anything, and they just disappear.
Yeah.
That is
It
to me the
also-
most terrifying death in the movie.
Yeah.
For sure, me
Good
too.
call.
And it also told me that they were maybe evolving and getting stronger. because like there was we had not seen that one before. No one had been dragged down by it in the same way. They seemed to kind of remain near the surface and just getting churned up. That was scary. And again, I couldn't help but think about how they shot that. I'm sure they just pulled a camera away from her while she was struggling, and it was so effective. It looked so good.
They didn't
Maybe
have
that
the
was
money,
kind
so
of-
they just drowned her. It was cheaper
awesome.
to drown the actor.
Nobody's getting paid anyway. Nobody will miss her.
That's a wrap.
What?
They got one take, brothers. Don't screw it up.
Hey,
That's why the blood looks so real in this one.
that girl had a very serious scene too. Remember her night before? She's like,
Yeah.
something just feels wrong. You know, she had like real acting scene the
Yeah,
night
she
before,
knew
and
she
then
was
they
gonna die.
fucking
Well, that's
sucked her to the bottom of the
it's
lake.
kind of funny because like that girl and that scene and then her death, I feel kind of follow the same rule that Piranha does. Like I think you were onto something, John, when you were like, oh, the movie's trying to tell you, oh shit, they're getting stronger. I think the movie's also trying to tell you, because when she dies,
We ran out of money.
we ran out of money. When she dies, it's before the mass killing that happens at the end, and I think it's also Joe Dante's way of telling you, hey, no one's fucking safe. The movie's getting meaner now. So if you thought we weren't going to do this to this girl, just wait. So when you see the kids, you're not like, no, they're not going to do this. You see the kids, you're like, oh fuck, they're fucked. All of them are fucked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yes, good
doesn't
call.
it feel like this movie? It's like, ha ha ha, these are funny scenes, and then at the end, it's just like PTSD trauma pan.
Dude,
Yeah.
And then
that
The,
and that
the
is
new-
Joe
Oh my
Dante.
God, that was not
Yeah.
funny at
Dude,
all.
that's Joe Dante in a nutshell. It's like we're having fun,
What
just
is
to
that?
still like Gremlins, and then at the end,
Guys,
it's like
right
whole
here.
town is fucked.
I was just about to ask you
It's like
what was
D-Day.
the thing the newscaster said, and I literally just looked down at my quotes and I had it here. Terror, horror, death, film at 11. When he's just, I mean, and honestly, those body bags, because when they're actually getting killed, Mark, no, that's a good point, dude. Like to show like aftermath, like you're gonna want to see that aftermath scene, but just to lay it out so literally in body bags, because you weren't quite sure how many people were actually dying in the sequence. A lot of people were being attacked, and that was super clear. But for me, I think the only person I knew who died for sure during the actual sequence was the general or the colonel,
Right.
because his hat fell. So I needed that aftermath, and again, that just told me like one, it was right before that moment that I laughed about where they cut away from the leads, and they're like, "Who gives a shit?" All that really matters is that tons of people died because people made stupid fucking decisions, and a franchise is in the making. These things are still here. Right?
Yep.
But it had the gravity of like a plane crash sequence, when everyone's organized in body bags, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And then this one
Yes.
is also body bags with shivering. Some of the background actors are like,
Yeah.
they're playing it really well, the trauma, and it's not like comedic at all. Like everyone's just like staring into the emptiness of their life now that their friends have been eaten, their whole town has been decimated. Their economy is now collapsed because the piranhas have taken over the water. And then you get to feel all this in a very
Dude,
quiet
and
moment.
their
and then they're
lake
just
is now
well,
fucking.
Now I gotta go pee.
Oh,
Their lake is totally polluted. Totally polluted. Everybody, that whole town is
it's-
fucked.
I was
now.
about to say, guys, I was about to say we haven't gone too deep on this yet, but there is absolutely an environmental theme
Yes.
here. For 1978,
Oh yeah,
I
they
mean,
were hosing chemicals in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
you
Freely
have
exposing
your
the
lead
chemicals
character
in.
set up. Yep, you have your lead character set up early on from his maybe the only backstory moments in their scene when they get back from the little base, and he's telling her what he used to do, how he made his money, worked at a smelting plant. They shut it down, so you know that like you're already like, okay, there's something about pollution here, climate change, and we already know that these fish were created by man fucking with nature. And now it's just like it started to become like this cycle of consequence, and the only way to actually destroy them was to ruin things further, which is kind of, I don't know. I thought that there was something prescient about that theme, that like we're going to only be able to stop what's happening by doing something maybe more fucked up to what we think is a contained part of nature and an ecosystem. But that's not how fucking nature works, baby. Those things are going out to the fucking ocean. And so is that pollution. You just fucking through generations of families, you're going to have like no teeth now because of the way they thought they were going to kill
They're
these
gonna have
fucking
no
fish.
teeth. That's so
What you're
true.
saying is this is also the Aaron Brockovich of fish movies.
Dude, that'd be funny if the second one's a court drama.
Yeah.
It has no violence. It's just a very serious court drama. It's like a Tom Cruise in it. It's like,
Oh my God,
he's in
that's
Piranha
so
2.
funny.
Holy shit.
Oh my God.
Dude, this
That's
movie
really
wishes
good.
the second movie was a good. Dude, at the end of this movie, if you listen closely, you can hear James Cameron's phone ringing because he's going to get the call to write Piranha 2: The Spawning.
I got to.
I really want to see that now.
Me too. I do now. I genuinely want to see it
set
now.
up for it.
Oh.
You're teed
I
up.
love
Get
the
ready. It's a lot of
title
fun.
and
It's a lot of fun.
ending
Get ready.
sequences.
And
Those-
how are
those-
the? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like with the end of the movie where it all turns blood red, and the beginning, I loved that opening sequence where the word piranha melts
yeah.
into the sea, turns bloody. I thought that was really cool, and that was a cool way to end it too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's. I bitch about this all the time on our show, and I just feel like this is such an obvious example of success using this method. They did not have CGI, and they didn't have a lot of the means that we might have to film these fish nowadays and reveal your killer sooner. And like, I don't know. I just felt like I very, very quickly switched gears into realizing I'm more interested in, and as you guys said, it's less suspenseful, more thrilling. I'm more interested in watching these people not understand and not be able to really observe what they're dealing with. And I'm stuck with them. And because of that, we know what piranha are. I think you can understand that pretty quickly. It's not like a Stephen King monster and you don't even know what it is for most of the book and people are just dying. And I just thought it worked so well. So that when they did start to gently show you more of the thing, you actually it's not about ever getting like a good shot of how large a piranha is and how big the teeth are. It was way more about the fact that we're tracking consequence. Like if they're there, people are dying. It's not really about being able to see what they're thinking and scheming and if they're growing and stuff. Then I know that like maybe that would happen nowadays. And I haven't seen any of the remakes, so
They would be
I can't
like
speak
a
to what they
cut
did.
into like the DNA of the fish, like getting torn apart and reforming with like that gurgly noise. But I mean, actually, the movie's smart, and especially from a budgetary reason, because when they're in the lab, they show things in great detail. It's like, okay, we can only show one, but it's going to look dope. Like the stuff in the jars looks awesome as you're going through each variation of the change in what this guy has done to that weird, crazy
one
looking
typic
piranha with
creature.
those crazy
Yeah.
teeth, you know?
Yeah.
So then it's sort of like, okay, this is how it looks, and now it's on you to use your imagination because we don't have any money for the rest of this. So it's kind of like, it's actually pretty smart because it's like, yeah, if anyone complains, they're like, didn't you look in the jars? Like that was like right at the beginning. So you as the audience,
but
you
in a
should know
sense-
what these things look like.
But don't you think I feel like some of the language of slashers and these movies that were coming out of feature creatures and monster movies and moving toward what we thought of as maybe more like contemporary horror. I feel like something I'm not saying it's lost nowadays, but something that seems to be tried and true, and this movie demonstrates it really well, is that you're only going to be as scared as the consequence that your characters are dealing with. So seeing people actually get torn up and finding those little moments, like the old man, knowing that he did crawl his way, like naked femurs and chins and ankles and shit, in a way that made it more interesting because you never felt like you were, because you never saw them underwater, really. You never felt like you had any perspective on them, right? They were kind of like mysterious the whole time. And
Yeah,
that
you were
immediately-
seeing from their perspective, like, oh, I'm going to eat that.
Yeah,
Yes.
which in very Jaws way, yeah. Which I don't know. It just automatically made it more fun. I felt like a part of my brain click on that doesn't click on as much when you're watching stuff nowadays, where a studio might say, "No, I want that objective shot. I don't care if it doesn't make sense and that no character is experiencing that. I want to see it, and we can do it." It's like, yeah, but why? You're immediately giving audience members relief. I don't want them to have relief. I want them to be convinced this raft is falling apart and they don't know how they're going to die. They just know they're going to die. I don't know. I thought it worked really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call.
That's it.
All right, guys, I think we're kind of maybe coming to the close of Piranha. Do you have any last things you want to say about the movie? Anything we didn't touch on? It seems like we're all in the camp of like, oh, you know what? Let me be a good host. We've been doing this each week. I forget to do this. We have been rating these movies from jawsome to not so jawsome in terms of standing in the wake of Bruce the Shark. Where would you guys put Piranha 78 on your scale of jawsome to not jawsome?
And again, when you say this, just to be clear, I'm not comparing it to the significance of Jaws as like a drama as well, right? Like that movie is
man,
like
you could do anything you want.
Yeah.
Does it feel jawsome to
then
you?
for what? Yeah. Yes, it does. For what this movie is, yes, it does feel fucking jawsome, dude. Yeah, I had so much fun watching it.
Yes.
I
A lot of
couldn't agree
smiles.
more. I could not agree more. I mean, the camp counselor brought a live gun to shoot off these 7-year-olds
scared of it,
racing
too.
in the river.
He felt it. Yeah. How about you guys? How about you two?
Mark?
I would say it's jawsome. I will say one thing though, and it's more of like movies of this era or just Americans in general. Anytime they show like a naked woman, it's sort of like, how about she's getting ripped apart and killed? It's like, what the hell is up with that shit?
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's kind of like, I thought it was a really fun movie. I'd probably watch it again. It's like, it definitely, I like, Matt has brought this up multiple times with Jaws and other movies like Back to the Future. There's something about a summertime movie when it feels like summertime that is like, it just makes it more enjoyable to watch. I don't know, you just feel like, it's like, yes, I want to watch this. It's like, and also the other thing too is like, okay, to make something scary in the summertime is like, that's like the pinnacle of horror to me. It's like you're taking the most idyllic situation where everyone's having fun. You're not thinking about anything bad happening. It's not nighttime. And you're just putting them through a meat grinder. And to do that in the daytime and be as effective as it is with such a low budget makes this movie like really fun. And I don't even think it should be classified with Jaws because it's just like John was saying and you guys were saying, it's like, it's a totally different thing. It's like, it's not even in an ocean, you know? It's like everything is totally changed. It's more, it would be more with like Jason Voorhees at camp than it would with like, you know, Bruce the
I was
Shark.
thinking the
So
same thing.
I think it's just like a solid monster movie, you know? And it's better because it's not just one monster, it's like a numerous amount of monsters that you can't even tell how many there are for
I
budgetary
can hear Jeff
reasons.
Ostermuller already yelling, Hive Theory. In one of these sequels, we're going to have a Hive Theory situation with these motherfuckers.
Fucking Independence Day.
Yeah. Matt, is the summertime more fun to watch? Do you think part of that is because we all, at least in the West, and we have those kind of school schedules, you kind of relate to the idea that like you don't really know what could happen. Anything can happen in the summer.
Yeah.
There's not school, you're not in that schedule time, that it's just more
It's
open
supposed
range.
to be fun.
Yeah.
Right.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, dude. That's 100%. Like again, and I really liked Orca from last week, but it was so funny watching it. I was like, this feels like a movie that you watch in October. I want summer. When I think of Jaws, even though Jaws is this very serious, monumental movie, it still feels like a summer movie to me. I was talking to Mark last week about Back to the Future. I was like, I put it on, not just to put Back to the Future on. I was like, I wanted it to feel like summer in my house. So that's why I put it on, because to me, that movie brightens everything up and you're like, fuck yeah, it's summer, man. We're time traveling. This guy's got a DeLorean. This is fucking awesome. Biff's a dick. This is great. And I got that same thing.
It's a movie you can watch in your shorts and not with a shawl on, you know?
Yes. You know what it is too? I absolutely think it is, you're seeing people, you're having fun, but you're not only seeing people have fun, you're seeing people in the element. So like, it's bright, the sincerity is there when they're having fun. It all feels the way that life is feeling outside of your window. So I think that's the other reason these kinds of movies, or even like some camp movies that don't go to nighttime, maybe not Meatballs, but maybe like, maybe Porky's or something, like movies like that are like, we're at a summer camp fucking around. You see us like the way that you see people outside of this window. There's something about it that just translates to me, man. And it brings the season in like nothing else. So like, this is absolutely, I think, in that wheelhouse, where like even before you get to the guy on jet skis, like once you see people on the lake, you're just like, it's fucking summer. Like, welcome to your summer horror movie. And that's the same thing with Friday the 13th. Like, those kids are out there wearing vests and roasting marshmallows at night around the fire because that's what a slasher needs them to do. It needs them to have that campfire talk. But fuck that noise. It's a summer movie. Like, it feels like summer.
Dude, you're so right, man. You're so right.
Yeah.
And by the way, Piranha
I'm
for me,
curious.
Jawsome. Right up there with Jawsome.
For sure. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Matt, as a hardcore fan of this movie, it sounds, maybe you know this. I had a lot of trouble finding out how this movie did commercially. I mean, I read that its budget was somewhere around $660,000.
Yeah.
And when I looked up how much it made, if you go to IMDb or the numbers, it says $321. What? I have to imagine that's incorrect.
I found a 14 million. I found that it did 14 million.
I would say,
And-
welcome to the world of New World Pictures, where we're not allowed to tell you how much we made. You're not allowed to know how much we made. That information isn't made available because some people need to get bank accounts and things, and bills need to be paid. That movie made negative $12. That's what I would say. It's still in the red. No one ever made money on it somehow. I don't know. Every time you want to look up budget stuff or like actuals for any Roger Corman movie, you're like, this motherfucker has hidden all this information.
Well, here's some good little info, and this is from like a conglomerate, a few different sources. But in its first 3 weeks, according to AFI, in its first 3 weeks, Piranha already made over $2 million, just over two.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Oh,
In
wow.
1978 money
Impressive.
too, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Pretty
That's
fucking
$1
good. And
billion.
if anybody's
Yeah,
thinking
it's-
about Jaws went up. It was supposed to be greenlit for like 10, it ended up finishing at 30 and made 300. So
Yeah,
about
Jesus.
10 times its amount. So if we're doing that, then I think Piranha's doing pretty well proportionally, right?
Well, if it did
in
get
its
that
opening-
14, it
Yeah.
wins.
cleaning up.
Yeah, it does win.
Yeah.
You're right.
It wins big time. No contest. Yeah. So
Fuck yeah.
I think they should be pretty fucking proud of that.
Well,
And that's not even
and
counting all the
I think
TV
it's safe-
deals and no doubt the amount of like other countries that probably are
Oh,
still
yeah.
showing this movie on the daily. You go to Portugal or something,
Yeah,
you turn
Roger.
the TV on, you're like, oh, Pirañha. Yes.
Its cult status has earned it, I'm sure, a good amount of money. And I think it's safe to say that Steven Spielberg also would give this movie a Jawsome
Yes.
designation, because he said it was his
Absolutely.
favorite of the Jaws knockoffs. Quote.
Oh wow!
That's
Yeah, dude.
so good.
And
Yeah,
also,
that's so
too,
awesome.
last week Orca had a little nod to Jaws by having the Orca take on a great white in the opening scene. That was their little nod to Jaws. This week we got Jaws Pong arcade machine. I'm loving watching these like direct call outs to Jaws. So the next movie that we do on this series, I'm going to be very curious if they go there, if they acknowledge Jaws at all, and how they do it. But so far, I don't know, man. It was cool seeing the Jaws. The retro gamer in me loved seeing that Jaws machine, but there's something about seeing the Orca be like, fuck you, I'm going to fight Bruce right away and win.
Yeah,
Kind of took the title for me on that
Pretty
one.
cool.
that's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty good.
All right. I think that's our
Amazing.
review of
Amazing.
Piranha.